didn't know that spirits could physically harm you.
It's a well.
I've got to make it to the door.
Stone circles, poltergeists and fear. Avebury, is it haunted?
I believe in ghosts.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Now, the village in Avebury is one of the most paranormal places in Great Britain. It's surrounded by these amazing stones, and it's said that it's haunted by an old druid priest.
These stones are over 4,000 years old. They weigh over 40 tonnes, and similar to other stone circles, no one really knows what they were put there for.
The village of Avebury itself sits inside the centre of the circles. Now, one of the buildings here, the Red Lion pub, is supposed to be terribly haunted.
The Red Lion pub dates back to 1802, but the actual building goes as far back as the 1600s. There are supposed to be 4 ghosts here, one of which is Florrie, who was killed during the Civil War, supposedly by her jealous husband.
One presenter, a psychic, a parapsychologist and a very brave film crew are spending 24 hours to uncover the mysteries of Avebury. Now, to help us get through the night, we've got our usual fearless, faithful crew. We've got the very handsome Mark on camera, the very gorgeous, sexy Martin on sound. The rest of the crew, give us a wave. Ooh, they're very quiet today, aren't they? Now, we've also enlisted our usual experts to get us through the night also. Now, Jason, we're covering 2 locations, the stones themselves and also the Red Lion pub. So how are you going to try and catch any paranormal activity here?
Well, we're going to use a couple of different things, as we always do. Today, in particular, one of the things I'd like to do, because the circle of stones is sort of very important paranormally to a lot of people, to sort of join in with that theme, if you like, we're going to do an experiment of movement of objects, because there's been some poltergeist activity reported in the pub. So I'm going to place coins around the well in the pub and see if they move. I'm also going to use, both inside and outside, one of the EMF detectors that we've used in the past. This one is particularly calibrated for use outside, so if we pick anything up at all on this, we'll know straight away it's not due to any natural electricity lines or any plugs, etc., that we sometimes get inside. So we'll be using that. Perhaps not quite so scientific on the end as well. We're going to use some cooking flour, yeah. Now, in the past, what we've done is sprinkle this, a very light dusting over sort of surfaces of tables, chairs, etc., where paranormal events have happened, leave the room for a while or the area, come back, and sometimes you find that there are markings in the flour which can't have been made naturally. We've caught handprints, etc., with this in the past. So we're going to do that in the restaurant area of the Red Lion pub, where a lot of poltergeist activity with movement of chandeliers has been experienced.
In the 3 years that I've been manager here, there's been some very bizarre goings on. Starting from the day that we moved in, and then I thought, what have we done?
Well, apparently, during the Civil War of about 1643, Florrie's husband went away to the wars, and while he was away, she became unfaithful to him. And when he came home, he found out, and in a fit of rage, he strangled her. And the story has it that he deposited her body down the well, which of course wasn't in the pub then, it was outside. It was the village well. And that's the story. But when we put a diver down, we fixed up a gantry over the well and put a diver down. When he got down to the bottom into the water, which was about 85 to 90 feet, there was a great big boulder down there and he couldn't get past it. So we still don't know whether poor old Florrie is down there or not.
Florrie doesn't like men with beards, allegedly. And we had a guy in the restaurant who was slating, you know, it's all rubbish, it's all rubbish. And the chandelier just started spinning over the top of him. And he left hastily after that.
There was, for instance, a hunting horn used to be up over the top of the bar there. That flew off and came hurtling into the bar. One of the barmen here, he used to shave just round here, because he got a beard, you see. And the glass flew off the wall and hit him straight in the face.
I heard all the stories, you know, about the ghost called Florrie, but I kept on getting her name wrong one night. I kept on calling her Floey. So all the restaurant lights just tripped out, and there's 3 trip switches that do the restaurant. All of them had gone apart from the one bulb that was still left on, and we just couldn't understand how this one bulb was on but all the trips were out.
Oh yes, this place is definitely haunted, inasmuch that the number of people that have come in here and know there's something. I took one lady up to, she said it's upstairs, I think. Took her up and we went round the different rooms. She walked into one room and she said, "This is it," she said. "The feeling is there straight away." She said, "There's something or somebody in here now." I said, "Well, I can't see them." So she said, "No, you won't."
The stereo in the mornings, the last thing I do is turn it off at night, come down to where we're sitting now, and it just started playing automatically. And it's a CD player, so it can't just trigger itself off.
I'm sure Florrie's haunting the Red Lion because, I don't know, it's one of those things that you've got a feeling for. And in a way, I love her.
Most haunted room is definitely the private room. People tend not to try and stay in there if possible, if they've stayed here before. And if people do stay there, it's icy cold, even though there's heating. I dare any member of your crew to stay in the private room alone.
You'd be surprised the number of people that come in here, and this is perfectly true, I'm not pulling your leg, and say, "Is there something about this place?" And I say, spiritually, or, you know, yeah, there's a feeling about it.
Well, tonight, I think possibly quite a few things will happen. We're obviously surrounded with spirits here, and the ghost of Florrie is somewhat a sort of local phantom celebrity, if you like. With there being so much alcohol around, I'm a little bit dubious as to whether that will perhaps interact with some of the experiences here. We're trying to keep that not the case, but who knows? We'll see later on. Well, the 3 circles of stone at Avebury do have an enormous sort of paranormal significance to a lot of people here. That does mean that people have sort of auto-expectation or auto-suggestion of what may happen to them. The ghost stories associated with the stones aren't perhaps what you would expect. You'd probably expect things like pagan rituals and ceremonies sort of reenacting themselves. That isn't quite the case. I'll be interested to see if people do pick up on the more subtle ghost stories associated with the stones themselves.
Well, this is the main dining room area where apparently a lot of poltergeist activity occurs. Bangs upstairs, things moving are often heard, and things down here, objects, are moved around mysteriously. But I suppose the main bit of activity here would be in this bay area, and the chandelier likes to move on its own. Up these stairs are 2 of the most haunted rooms in the whole of the Red Lion pub. Well, this room is what's known as the private room, and there are supposed to be 3 ghosts here. There is a lady called Beth who sits and writes a letter on the table in the corner, and then there are 2 children that are supposed to be cowering in the corner. The general feel of this room by many of the guests is a feeling of horrible oppression, not very nice, quite a sad feeling really, and many people have asked to leave. It just feels very cold to me, that's all. Oh well, we'll see later. This is known as the Avenue Room. There are supposed to be 2 ghosts in here, one male and one female, though nobody knows who they are.
With everything set up for the night shoot and Derek Gacora's prompt arrival, we could afford a little time to relax and enjoy our dinner before the long night ahead.
Jason, is it at all possible that buildings or places like this Avebury with all stone stuff actually hold memories?
Well, it's one of the sort of standard theories that's put forward